I've just finished watching the Apple event and oh my god, I was completely surprised. I'm not even going to lie to you. So let's just jump straight into this video because there's a lot to talk about. Hello everyone, my name's Mike and here at Tech Moon we uncover all kinds of tech. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. But honestly, I'm almost shaking because there have been some incredible announcements today, so let's just break it down from start to finish, and I'll do a proper in-depth video later on after this, but I kind of just want to get this video out there just to update you guys on what's just happened. So first of all, Apple has released a new Apple Podcast app. So it's going to have podcast subscriptions, there's a new redesign and layouts and stuff like that, and it's going to be launched out in over 170 regions to start out with. So that's pretty interesting if you're into your podcasts. And to go along with that, they have released a new iPhone color as well. So the iPhone 12 will now come in a new purple color. This is probably because of the new podcast app, which is in purple. So maybe they thought, let's launch the new iPhone in purple as well. Who knows? But yeah, that's super nice. And I think that a lot of people will like that new color choice. That's for sure. And finally, we have got the AirTags. Yes, the rumored AirTags are here and they look really nice. Like definitely a lot more premium than what's out there in the market at the moment. But just taking a look at some of the specifications. So again, this will have the U1 chip and it will basically allow you to find your stuff within close proximity. Now it does have the U1 chip. So what that means is that if you have an iPhone 11 or 11 Pro or a 12 or 12 Pro with the U1 chip, it will basically allow you to use precision tracking. So what this means is that it will visually show you how far your tag is from you by giving you virtual cues. Now this thing does have end-to-end encryption, so what that means is that none of your personal data will be recorded by Apple or anything like that. It's just used for tracking that tag. Now you can still use the AirTag with your current iPhone X or XR or anything like that, but you just won't get precision tracking. So it has a little speaker to help you find your stuff, like similar to other trackers, and obviously all the other features, but you just won't get the precision tracking like you do with the iPhone 11, 11 Pro, 12 and 12 Pro. Now it comes with a bunch of colorful accessories. So essentially you can put this pretty much anywhere. I can imagine third parties jumping in on this as well. So once they get their hands on it, they'll start developing for it as well. I would love Nomad to maybe come up with something really high premium as well, because these look pretty nice. But yeah, in terms of pre-orders, you should be able to pre-order them on Friday and then they'll be shipped out on the 30th of this month. Now, the great thing about these AirTags, which I'm really glad to see, is that firstly, the batteries are user replaceable. They give about a year's worth of battery life, so sort of on par what's on the market at the moment, and they're also splash proof as well. So again, if you're going to be putting this in, let's say, a swimming bag or something like that, you'll be absolutely fine. If it gets a little bit damp or anything like that, you'll be absolutely fine. And next up, we have the new Apple TV. So yes, the Apple TV 4K gets an update with the new A12 Bionic chip. So thankfully, it's going to be faster than the old model. Now, this will still support HDR Dolby Vision, but now in high frame rate mode. So what that means is that you'll be able to play HDR Dolby Vision in 60 frames per second. Also, to accompany that, we'll also be seeing AirPlay with high frame rate. So if you record any content, for example, like on your iPhone 12 Pro, which allows for 60 frames per second HDR Dolby Vision video recording, you're actually going to be able to AirPlay that onto your TV. Now, that's all great. But what if your TV doesn't display the most accurate colors? Well, Apple has come up with a solution for this, because a lot of TVs, despite them saying how amazing they are, a lot of them aren't very color accurate, and they sometimes give off a different image to, let's say, the one that's on your screen on your phone. So they came up with a new color balance feature to improve the picture quality by using your iPhone. So yeah, so this is pretty amazing. So I'll quickly touch on this. So it uses the iPhone's front camera and you point that at your TV, and what that will do is the Apple TV will then display a bunch of colors on the TV so that your iPhone camera can see what the TV is actually outputting when the Apple TV is, let's say, displaying blue or red or whatever. And then what it will do is the Apple TV will adjust its colors in the Apple TV so that when it's displayed, it will be much more accurate. So you don't actually have to worry about changing the settings on your TV and maybe it not being color accurate. Now with the iPhone and the Apple TV, it will do that automatically. So hopefully on pretty much any screen you use the Apple TV with, you should get a more accurate viewing experience. And yes, finally they have updated the Apple remote. So it looks a little bit weird in my opinion, just having a quick look at some of the images. But what they've done is that they've actually gone back to almost the old Apple TV remote. So it now has physical buttons, but they've actually included a scroll wheel like the old iPods and stuff like that, which I think just makes sense because scrolling through you know, your content is a bit of a pain. And if they get rid of, let's say, that touchpad, which I'm glad they have finally, because that was just absolutely rubbish, how would you quickly scroll through your content? Well, the scroll wheel, which Apple obviously pioneered, they've just introduced it into the Apple TV remote, which just makes sense. Now it's got a few more buttons as well, which is good to see. And now the Siri button has been moved onto the side of the remote. So I definitely can't wait to see this because this is something that I've been absolutely waiting for an updated remote and a faster Apple TV. So I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering that, and that'll be on the 30th of April, and they're shipping it out, I believe, sort of middle of May. So definitely watch and subscribe to this channel because I definitely will be doing a review on it. And they've brought out the new iMac, so I absolutely love this. So it comes in a whole bunch of new colors, so green, yellow, orange, red, purple, blue, silver. I mean, yeah, looks good. I would have loved to have seen a space grey version. Why offer me all those colours, not a space grey version? Absolutely sucks that we don't have one, but anyway, because there's a lot to unpack with this iMac. So firstly, it comes with the M1 chip. So it comes in two variants. So it comes in the 8-core CPU, 7-core GPU, and the 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU. Very similar to the configurations that's found on the M1 MacBook Air. Now, the configurations are the same, so 8GB of RAM as standard and 256GB of SSD storage as standard, but again those can be upgraded to 16GB of unified memory and 2TB of SSD storage. Now the display is definitely a nice one at that. So it's a 24-inch display. So what they've done is they've just narrowed the bezels to keep it basically in line with the 21.5-inch iMac, which is really cool because that is a very nice screen size, especially at the price point, which I'll get into in a moment. And it's a 4.5K display. It features wide P3 color, 500 nits of brightness, true tone display, all of that good stuff. So the 4 ports are very interesting. So they're all USB-C, so no USB-A ports, but 2 of them are USB 4/Thunderbolt ports and the other 2 are USB 3. It's very similar to the configuration that we see in the Mac Mini. Now we don't see an Ethernet port on the Mac. That's because it's really thin. So the iMac itself is 11.5 millimeters thick. So there's no chance basically for them to fit an Ethernet port. So thanks to this new magnetic connector which connects to the back of the iMac, on the actual power adapter there is a port for the Ethernet cable, Ethernet port and cable. So that's quite an innovative way of implementing the Ethernet cable. Now on the display you get an updated 1080p camera, but it's not like any other 1080p camera that we've seen in any other iMac. This is the best 1080p camera on any Mac that we've seen previously. So there's no point in comparing it to other 1080p webcams that we've seen before, because this camera is a lot better, and that's partially due to the M1 chip. Because of its new ISP, it offers wide dynamic range, so much better wide dynamic range, offers much better noise reduction, much better white balancing. So overall, it's going to be a fantastic video conferencing webcam. And to go along with that webcam, we've got really nice microphones as well. So they've updated it with a wide array microphone setup. So again, really clear audio. And then we've got some brand new speakers that's meant to have much better bass response, low vibrations, and will help you apparently to create spatial audio content. So this iMac looks like basically a winner in my eyes. Now the peripherals have also been updated. Now that keyboard, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I really want that keyboard because having Touch ID on that keyboard is going to be a game changer, and I'm finally glad that we see it. So essentially with the Touch ID keyboard, what this allows you to do is basically have the technology on what you see on the MacBook Air and MacBook Pros with its Touch ID in the keyboard itself, and they're all color coded, so they all match with the colors that you go for, and same with the trackpad and Magic Mouse. Now unfortunately we didn't get to see an updated design to the Magic Mouse, so it's still unfortunately charging under the bottom, which is again a stupid design, but I guess the colors make up for it. Okay, no, it really doesn't. Now, in terms of pricing, so the base price is $1,299, and that base model will come with the 8-core CPU and 7-core GPU, whereas there is another model with the 8-core GPU, and that is an extra couple $100, so $1,499. The iMacs will be available for pre-order from April 30th, and they will be available in our hands sort of mid-May, which is quite nice. But now let's talk about the new iPads, because yeah, that was a massive surprise to me. The M1 is in the iPad Pro. So rumors were pointing to M1-like performance. No, this is M1, not M1-like. So this is not an A14Z or X or anything like that. I think that they're going to now reserve that for the iPad Air and the normal iPad and obviously the iPhones. I think now the iPad Pro is now going to be on the same architecture as what we find in the Macs, which begs the question, what is the future of iPad? But that's not for this video today. So we get the same two sizes, so we still get the 11-inch and we also get the 12.9-inch display. The base configurations are at 128 gigabytes, but now go all the way up to 2 terabytes. Now here's the interesting thing regarding the iPad. So if you order the 128, 256 or the 512 gigabyte model, you will get the 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU variant with 8 gigabytes of RAM. But if you go for the 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte option, you get the 16 gigabyte memory of unified memory. Now, one of the bigger updates regarding the iPad, aside from the M1 chip being in this thing, and for me, the fact that you get the same configurations essentially to the big boys is that screen. So the 11-inch still has the same brilliant ProMotion display on the 11-inch, which is fine. But on the 12.9-inch display, we now get mini LED. So what mini LED is it has a whole bunch of mini LEDs on the back screen, and there's apparently 10,000 of them with local dimming, which means that you can adjust the brightness of each region of the screen to get basically much deeper blacks and much brighter whites. And talking about the brighter whites, this thing now, instead of going up to 500 nits of brightness like or 600 nits of brightness like on the 11-inch, this goes all the way up to 1000 nits of brightness with a peak brightness of 1600. Pretty much exactly the same as what's found on the Pro Display XDR, which is like a $5,000 display. So this is pretty cool because you're getting a Pro XDR display in an iPad, in a 12.9-inch iPad, which is, you know, not too far off the size of, you know, this thing. And you'll be able to do some pretty awesome stuff. Now, they spoke a little bit about LumaFusion and stuff like that, which is cool. It'll be interesting to see how that works with this and how it's all optimized with M1. But the fact that LumaFusion is optimized or will be getting optimized and will be optimized for M1, and it will continue to obviously see better improvements, it does beg the question, when will we be seeing the Final Cut Pro for iPad? And for those who use cellular, we now get 5G into the iPad. I don't know many people who go for the cellular models of the iPads, but if you are one of those people, then great, you get 5G. And if you're someone who lives near a 5G tower, unlike me, you actually get to benefit a little bit from it. but that could also mean worse battery life if you do have the cellular model, and especially if you're using 5G with this thing, because it does eat up battery. So it's not all good news regarding that. Now, in terms of pricing, the 11-inch will be $799, and the 12.9-inch with that amazing display, that lovely mini LED display, will cost you $1,099, which is quite a lot. But it gets a little bit crazy at this point, because if you go for the 1TB model, because you want the 16GB of RAM in your iPad Pro, well, now that's going to cost you $1,799. That's a lot of money for an iPad. $1,800 for an iPad. Yeah, apparently the M1 MacBook Pro with the M1X chip will apparently cost around the same amount. And yes, you might not get the same amount of storage or whatever, but there's some good things coming out of that M1X MacBook Pro, and I don't know if I will buy a iPad Pro over a MacBook Pro. Yeah, tell me what you think down in the description below, if you would rather spend $1,800 on an iPad with an M1 chip, essentially, or would you rather go for an MacBook Pro 14-inch with the potential of the mini LED display for around, let's say, $1,800 to $2,000. Would that be your pick, or would you rather go for an iPad Pro due to its size? So just a few points just to finish off the iPad is the USB-C port now supports Thunderbolt and USB 4 support. So that is absolutely fantastic for you guys who do use your iPad and connect a whole bunch of stuff to it. But that's it. That's the rundown of the Apple event. I will do a deeper dive into the iMac and really sort of go into the specifications. I've just recorded this video quickly and obviously edited this video very quickly for you guys to enjoy and get the rundown and a little bit of my opinions. But yeah, stay tuned, subscribe, and yeah, if you want to carry on watching more content, you guys know what to do. Click those two videos right, or one of those two videos right over here. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.